Conservative media peeps and Olympic fans all over the world, what is up? I love it. USA, USA, Michael Phelps, USA. I gotta do it, dude. I mean, we love the world, but I mean, we're American, and you know, we're here in America, and we're Americans. I've got Paula Villarreal joining by phone, and we're so excited and happy and patriotic about Michael Phelps. And it's nothing against anybody else, but I mean, you know, we have a right to be happy about our country and the patriotism and everything like that, and that's what I'm talking about. And that's the thing about the Olympics. What's cool about the Olympics is you get to see all the great sports stuff and everything like that, and then you get to root for your country and do that, but then you also admire athletes in other countries and everything. So it's like a world thing, but it's also a national thing. It's everything. It's an individual thing. It's an athlete thing. Olympics are great. We love the Olympics. But here's the deal. First of all personal opinion only, not alleging facts, not cast aspersions, all for entertainment purpose only. Check the disclaimers. Michael Phelps has now broken the Olympic record for the number of medals. He's got 19. That's incredible. With this relay, they have another gold, and Michael Phelps has 15 gold medals. That's 15, dude. That's more than anybody by a long stretch. And now you got to think about this right here. There are people talking, oh, Michael, he doesn't look as good as Ryan Lochte. We love Ryan Lochte. That's great. And of course, the French team did amazing with their relay, and there was different things, and Phelps got the silver because he kind of got out touched and maybe didn't finish as strong in the back show, but then boom, comes back today with this explosive swim right here, and this was incredible. He really got it done. And can anybody doubt that Michael Phelps, in my personal opinion, is the greatest swimmer ever? Let's just start with that right there. I mean, forget about the Olympics or anything like that. We love the Olympics. We're going to deal with that in a second. But the greatest swimmer ever, Michael Phelps. I think that is just, boom, stamped right there, indelibly, on the entire sport of swimming. Unless there's this, like, super unbelievable swimmer that nobody's ever heard of. All right? But, I mean, look, you have to say that it's been done by Michael Phelps. In Olympics after Olympics, World Championships, trials, everything. Michael Phelps, in my personal opinion, is the greatest swimmer ever. Now, let's talk about Olympics. You know, look, I always kind of am cautious when it comes to this kind of situation because it's very tough, in my personal opinion, to compare different sports. Like, so, for instance, weightlifting. You know, you had, I can't remember, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so, you know, hopefully people will forgive me for that. But you take, like, Rezazada, right, the super heavyweight from Iran. That was an incredible Olympic lifter and stuff like that, and how dominant he was. Or Alexeyev in his time, or Pocket Hercules. There's a lot of different folks that you can point to, but I mean, when you're talking about, so let's say you're just the best Olympic weightlifter ever, there's only so many medals that you're going to be able to win at any given Olympics. With you know, swimming, because there's so many different events, not unlike track to some degree, but definitely with swimming, in my personal opinion, swimming is one of the sports where you can just rack up a ton of medals. So it's harder in other sports to, you know, rack up that many medals. And gymnastics is maybe another one, as I've already talked about track. But let's say, let me think. I'm trying to think of, you know, the perfect analogy. Cycling, for instance, or tennis. I mean, how many medals can you really rack up in tennis or in cycling if there's only like a couple events, stuff like that? So I always am very cautious where, you know, the greatest Olympic athlete ever or whatever. I mean, it's a perfect example. How do you compare like a Usain Bolt, maybe, or a Michael Johnson, or maybe even a better example is Carl Lewis back in his day, to like a Michael Phelps. So I don't know that I really want to go there in terms of the greatest Olympic athlete ever or anything like that. But definitely Michael Phelps, you know, has put himself clearly, in my personal opinion, in that discussion, if not near the top of the discussion. And similarly, you could say the same thing with basketball. There's only, you know, one medal awarded and all that. So you've got, obviously, clearly Michael Jordan back in his time, or now LeBron and Kobe and all that, you know, all those, you know, Kevin Durant and all these superstars here. I mean, you take all that talent, and they're only going to win you know, if they win, obviously there's a lot of basketball to be played, but if they win, they will only win, you know, 1 gold medal. Same thing with boxing, etc. So it's hard to really, you know, get those kind of comparisons. But it's an unbelievable phenomenon. It's an unbelievable event.
Yes.
Paul, go ahead, weigh in on this. I mean, this is huge. This is history.
This is incredible. Michael Phelps, we totally salute and congratulate him.
Yes.
I've got a video going up right now about this as well. Check that out. Look, this is a testament to dedication, fitness, will, and heart. I love this. This is a great time for this to be happening. Good time. There's tough economic stuff going on. Michael Phelps giving everybody like hope and just strength. I love it.
That's what I'm saying. We have the American hat on. Michael Phelps is an American. We are Americans. We're extremely proud of America, the U.S. Olympic movement, USA Swimming, Michael Phelps, the USA in general, and everything like that. At the same time, I definitely take what Paul was said there. And we love the entire world, and we have fans from all over the world. And I think that this is a testament for swimming around the world, for the Olympic movement around the world, the IOC, and also for people around the world. People were counting Michael Phelps out. Okay, it was the last Olympics and everything like that, and maybe he's lost his touch, everything like that. He went through adversity. I even heard, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I heard some reports that maybe he got a little sick at trials, and was that effect? Well, who knows? Okay, and then to battle back and to get this kind of win. I mean, with the economic times, whether it's in the hard times, I mean, globally, you know, whether you're talking about Europe, you slow down in China, obviously here in the United States, you know, there's been some very hard economic times. I mean, and you know, Greece, everything. Hey, if you get in there, like Paul was saying, and you work, you persevere, and you do what you need to do. You block that stuff out. You get on, you stay focused, you get on your business. In my personal opinion, this is a reminder that great things can happen. That great things can happen. So I love this kind of story, Paul, and I love what this means. Tell me about how this went down. Give us some of the numbers and some of the breakdown of this race and how it all unfolded.
Look, I don't have the full breakdown right now, working on that right now, getting links about it right now, but the bottom line is this, as you said, there were a lot of people, as silly as it might sound, that actually kind of counted Michael Phelps out. We were hearing all this stuff about the locked guy. He was the next guy, and he was coming, and supposedly he may talked a little trash or something about Michael Phelps. This is another American swimmer who's great, who beat Phelps in another race, in which Phelps did not medal in that race. I think he was 4th. But it's like, I mean, people were already trying to overlook him like he was going away or something. He isn't going anywhere. Now, this might be the swan song or whatever for him, but if it is, he's going out on top. Not only is, as you mentioned, the greatest swimmer ever, but as you also talked about, you can talk about him as certainly greatest Olympian, maybe greatest athlete. That he has to be in that discussion now, because you're talking about a person with 15 gold medals and 19 overall medals. That's incredible. That's ridiculous. Yeah, you can get a lot of medals in swimming compared with those sports, no doubt, but you still have to win them. I mean, if you can get a lot of medals, and somebody else could have gotten 19 medals, and they didn't.
That is a great point, and I love where you're going right there, and I love what you're talking about right there, because I think that the right way, in my personal opinion, because you hear these people on the different shows, and you know, whether they're commentators or anchors or sports writers, in my personal opinion, and maybe they're running off at the mouth, and you know, maybe they haven't really ever played professional sports or elite sports, or even, you know, necessarily like anything beyond high school sports, and maybe some of them haven't even done that. Okay, and so I put all of that, you know, those, let's say, no offense, but let's say commentators that are non-athletes or not, at least, you know, non-college level athletes or above, to the side for a second. But what you just said, I think, hits the nail right on, squarely on point, and that is this. You have to compare sports to themselves. Okay, so in other words, yes, you can rack up a lot of gold medals or a lot of medals, whatever, let's just say medals in track, in certain sports, in gymnastics, and definitely in swimming. However, the fact that nobody has done what Michael Phelps has done in the history of the Olympics, that says one thing right there. But to me, more importantly, if you look at a number of gold medals he has to the next person, I believe it's Spitz, but you look at that discrepancy. The bottom line is it's a huge stretch. And like you said, Paul, maybe you can win a lot of medals, but you have to go out there and do it. So the fact that Michael Phelps has done it and won this against, obviously tremendous competition globally, and has done it on multiple Olympics, that really, really puts a stamp on it right there. So what has he done against the competition, and how do you measure that against how other great swimmers have done at the Olympics? And I think when you see that distance, that's incredible. And to some extent, obviously, that's how you can start making arguments for Usain Bolt and stuff like that, because you look at the spread there against other people, whatever. But honestly, like I want to see. I thought people were talking about Usain Bolt too prematurely. No doubt what he did was unbelievable, and by the margins, and to be able to look at the crowd and still win by that margin, no doubt about it. But let's see what happens in this Olympics. If Usain Bolt goes out there and does what he did in that kind of fashion in the last Olympics, in this Olympics, then I think Usain Bolt is part of that conversation too. So that's how I kind of judge this. So no doubt about it, what Michael Phelps has done is absolutely incredible. And like you said, Paul, I think, let me put it to you like this. To me, and this is a whole different discussion, there's no way you can compare something like golf to swimming and the kind of rigorous athletic rigor and fitness that is required for swimming as compared to golf. People that wanted to compare how great, like let's say Tiger Woods was, and Tiger Woods was great in what he did, but you cannot, in my personal opinion, compare golf to something like tennis, let alone or swimming. And people in the past, Paul, I think wanted to maybe compare Tiger Woods, the greatest athlete ever, to someone like Roger Federer, who I think has clearly blown away and eclipsed any kind of comparison to Tiger Woods, in my personal opinion, particularly with this #1 ranking again and the all-time there, and also with that with the win there at Wimbledon, and now obviously steamrolling here at the Olympics. And then when you talk about Michael Phelps, doing it in swimming and doing it in this kind of fashion and doing it to this kind of extent, I think sends an incredible, strong message. Paul, do you agree with that?
I totally agree. I think that's good to bring that up, that entire discussion about what we really think is a sport and what we don't think is a sport. Look, you mentioned Usain Bolt. I think that's a very good name to bring up. I believe that Usain himself has said, look, I'm not anything unless I do it in this Olympics. So I think he understands that he's going to need to pass the same type of test of longevity which Michael Phelps has passed. Right. So there is another thing for Usain Bolt to do there. And again, I give him credit for understanding that and acknowledging that. Now, you mentioned with Tiger Woods, Roger Federer. Look, we've talked about this before. I totally respect Tiger Woods as well as Roger Federer. Certainly, people would look at the injuries that Tiger has had to his knee, I believe his left knee, his front leg that he's swinging off of, and say, well, golf has to be some kind of a sport. But I agree with you. You have people like Angel Cabrera and Tom Watson at 60 years old competing seriously to win the British Open a couple of years ago. It makes you wonder if golf is more of a game of skill rather than a true quote-unquote sport. I would think that on any kind of objective measure at this period in their careers, that Roger Federer is a better, more successful competitor than Tiger Woods has been, although Tiger Woods still has a long way to go. And there are people like Ben Hogan in golf, the great from the past, who won 7 majors after he turned 37 years old. Tiger's about to turn 37. So we'll see. I mean, that still has to play out, just in terms of where he'll end up and everything. But as you mentioned, there's no question, I don't think in anybody's mind, that swimming is clearly a true sport. It takes a phenomenal ability and dedication and physical fitness. And Michael Phelps has showed he has all of that, and he's got the will. You got to keep the hunger. You know all about that. You've won national championships. After you win one or two, you could just hang it up, but you didn't do that. And so it takes a special kind of mentality. Maybe you can speak to that about maintaining the hunger and the drive to compete, which Michael Phelps has shown.
Very great segues, no doubt about it, absolutely, and that is the thing in longevity, and I think that's one of the reasons why. I mean, I don't want to distract from Michael Phelps because it's all about Michael Phelps right here, but I think what you said is absolutely important. To me, in my personal opinion, one of the reasons why I get respect, I'm talking about, I love my audience out there, whatever, I'm talking respect from professional athletes. I'm talking about respect from elite athletes. That's why I've trained so many professional elite athletes, Olympic, world-class athletes, stuff like that. The reason why I get respect is because people have seen what I've been able to do, and for basically almost all of my life. Right? I started competing. I started training pretty seriously. I think when I was 8 years old at home. Paul can speak to this. Our uncle got us a weight set, and then we started working out from Sears. It was one where I think it was filled with cement or sand or whatever, and we started doing our thing and whatever like that. I started competing when I was 15. There's a good period of time where I didn't lose anything at any level. I won regional championships, 8 states. I think I can't remember if that was 15 or 16. I qualified for nationals like 3 or 4 years in a row. Won my first nationals at 19 in 1990 in Norman, Oklahoma. And I won my last nationals in 2006 in Sacramento, California. Okay, so you're talking about a stretch of excellence and a stretch of performance. And you're also talking about I won nationals in 3 of the biggest, most prestigious, in my personal opinion, organizations at that time. And to some extent, because of the way I don't want to get distracted on that, it becomes a little bit of a fluid as far as where the best lifters are at and which organization, whatever. But there, in my personal opinion, there can be no doubt about that. When you're talking about, USPF back in the 1990s, and I don't think anybody would dispute that, in my personal opinion, that was, one of the, if not the elite organization at that time, in my personal opinion. Or we're talking about, the APF, or we're talking about the APC, and when there was a lot of lifters in the APC and everything like that. And so there's no doubt about it. I've also competed in the ADFPA. Before it was the USAPL. So I've done it on all those different levels for all that different stuff. And also people like, the bench shirts, the squat suits, and that, whatever. I have plenty of videos up, as Paul's seen. I was my strongest probably when I was 23, and I have plenty of videos up, as people can see, and I have a playlist. So you guys can see my playlist right on YouTube of some of me competing and stuff like that, but also me just in the gym using squatting 530 for 525, 530, whatever it is, 525 plus I think it is, for 7 reps, deep with just knee wraps, stuff like that. Curling, 205, with benching 315 for 10 reps with just a tank top on or a muscle shirt or whatever it is, stuff like that. So there's all kinds of stuff of me lifting enormous weights in all kinds of different fashions, and this is past when I was, some of this was while a good bit of these were past when I was even competing. I'm talking when I was in my mid to upper 30s and stuff like that. So you're talking about, I competed, I think it was like for 2 decades, 21 years, something like that. Obviously at an elite level from front to back, that kind of excellence, that kind of performance. So it's that, and obviously I've been able to to do it and do really great in other sports, whether it's wrestling, judo, all kinds of other stuff, and have a fitness and a look, and I think that maintains it. So being able to show it, people that that are in the game, basically, bottom line, understand that. Having that longevity, I think people understand that as well. Not some kind of flash in the pan or anything like that. Again, I don't want to make this about me, it's about Michael Phelps. But I think when you talk about that with Michael Phelps, in my personal opinion, that is a very impressive situation right there, Paul. That is something I think that really stamps what he's been able to do, and I just think it's just incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. I got a chance to look up. Mark Spitz won 9 gold medals as a U.S. Olympian, which is phenomenal. But it just puts into perspective how incredible Michael Phelps' 15 gold medals has been. Look, what you mentioned is right, and the point of what you're saying is this. It's like we talk about in business or whatever, you and I have talked about. It's one thing to be in the right place at the right time, you know, and get your little cash out and do well and whatever. And it's another thing to do it again and again. You've done it again and again. Michael Phelps has done it again and again. And it's just a phenomenal achievement. You're talking about in every sport in the history of the Olympics, at least I guess the modern Olympics since I think the late 1800s, nobody ever has done this, ever. And it just gives you a perspective of how unique and incredible this accomplishment is. You have everybody in the entire world, pretty much, except for, you know, obviously there's some exceptions. Some professionals couldn't participate, etc. But you pretty much have almost every athlete there is ever been competing in this for over 100 whatever years now, and nobody's ever done this.
Wow.
That's amazing. We are watching history right now in the making. It's incredible to be a part of it. We get to talk about it, and I know the fans are pumped up. I've already seen responses to the other video I put up. People are excited. They're enthusiastic, and as we talked about, we don't want to make too much of this, and we're talking about the economy and globally. Look, people need inspiring, enthusiastic stories so they can have hope and they can feel good about what they can achieve. And when you look at somebody that has achieved this much, and he's gone through his own doubts and people doubting him, and these little issues and those little issues, and now he's back and he's at the top of the charts, and I think it's phenomenal.
I think it's phenomenal. I think, to me, you know, I liken it like this. It's one thing to do it with a certain team, if they spend a lot of money, whatever, but I think that's why people, you know, really gravitate to, let's say in MMA, someone like a Dan Henderson or an Anderson Silva that had, you know, success, certainly Dan Henderson, in Pride, and then can come over and Strikeforce and have great success there. Anderson Silva have unbelievable success at the UFC, or someone like Jeremy Lin that has done the incredible Linsanity situation in New York, and now he's over in Houston, and people want to see what's going to happen there. You know, and someone like LeBron that can get to an NBA Finals, you know, basically, in my personal opinion, you know, mostly through it's a team game, everything like that. But I mean, you know, I would say that LeBron was the biggest reasons why the Cleveland Cavaliers made it to the NBA Finals there, and then to not just make it to the NBA Finals, but to win an NBA championship with the Miami Heat. I think that is a stamp of longevity and a stamp of excellence, much like I try to do in my lifting and athletic career, and that's the other thing too. Look at how many different sports that I've been great at and everything like that, and now Michael Phelps, Olympics after Olympics after Olympics. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. And maybe people can talk about that with Beckham, whether it was with Manchester United or LA or wherever. I mean, so there's and then soccer, we've seen that. We see, you know, obviously we see stars move around in soccer and everything like that. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about longevity. We're talking about excellence. You know, and that, I think that's the point, Paul.
It is the point, and we know that the person that Michael Phelps surpassed, I'm looking at right now, the Soviet gymnast named Larissa Latynina. Nanya, might be pronouncing that wrong. I apologize to the viewers if I did. Look, and she won those 1956, 1960, 1964. That's 8 years of dominance by that young woman. And this, as you mentioned, people love the stories of the grit, the determination, where they get to see how hard the people work. They get to see that the people have been doubted. We know LeBron was doubted. We know Jeremy Lin has been doubted. We know Tim Tebow is doubted. We know tons of people that are doubted all the time. People like Kobe. When Kobe won the first 3 rings, it was all Shaq. Could he do it by himself? And he proved that he could. So people love these kind of stories where they get to latch onto them. There's a lot of meat on the story. There's a lot of tough times. There's a lot of hardship. There's a lot of blood and sweat that goes into making these champions and making a championship mentality. And I think Michael Phelps is a perfect example of that. Everybody around the world, not just Americans, can be so excited about this. This is a global event. Michael Phelps has captured the attention of the whole world here, and I think everybody's going to be happy about this.
There's no doubt about it, and I will come back to my own story again. And you remember this: 2006, Sacramento, California, APC National Champion, stuff like that. About 4 weeks out, I blew out this elbow in training, benching 465. Went to the emergency room, dude. It was swollen up. It was, you know, black and blue, stuff like that. I didn't know if I was done, anything like that, whatever like that. Got excellent treatment, and thanks so much to the doctors, all the doctors that helped me out and everything like that. And luckily, you know, I was able to move forward. But I didn't know, in training, every lift, every bench for the day I was competing, whether it was going to blow and just snap. And then 10 days out, I'm squatting 740 pounds and my back blows out, dude. So I mean, I am like I don't even know how I was even able to compete, okay? And somehow or another, like Michael Phelps, you turn the switch on, because I told myself, and honestly, if we're gonna be honest right here, and I prayed to God, just give me one more, just give me this championship right here. At 35 years old, just let me win this, and that's it. I'm done. And I was gritting through pain every lift. And if you look at, I actually have those videos up. If you look at it, I actually was getting stronger through it, and my last deadlift was awesome. You know, at over 600 pounds and stuff like that. And I was able to put it together even through the pain, even aggravating my injuries, and I won. Dude, and not only did I win, but I got best lifter in my class, and that was absolutely incredible. And I had injuries, you know, that because of having gone through that, and because of the competition, whatever. I was, you know, I'm still nursing some injuries because of that, but I definitely was really danged up for over a year. But 4-time national champion and best lifter in my class in my last championship. You can't want better than that. You can't want to go out better than that. And that's what Michael Phelps done. Gold medal, dude. More Olympic medals than anybody else. More gold medals than anybody else. And people were doubting him, and he silenced that. You know, maybe I didn't do as much as, obviously I didn't do as much as I was doing in the gym, and I didn't have all my best lifts or whatever, but I got it done. Michael Phelps got it done. That's what's up. Maybe this Olympics isn't going to be, you know, as many gold medals as the last Olympics, but Michael Phelps got it done, Paul. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, what I was going to say, what I was thinking about while you were talking there was that, like Michael Phelps, you had to grit it out to win. I remember in another one of them, or maybe it was that one, where you had to hit the last lift to win. Well, Michael Phelps said, Locht, or however you pronounce the guy's name, Locht, finishing ahead of him. Michael Phelps' time is over. Michael Phelps finishes fourth in their first race together. So this wasn't easy.
No.
It looked like Michael Phelps might not get it done.
You're talking about my first national championships in Norman, Oklahoma, and you were there, and our mom was there, and basically I had done phenomenal lifts in training, stuff like that. And here's my, you know, and when I grew up, and Paul knew, and people were saying, oh, you're making fun of me. Weren't picking me to play games. And I'm sitting there crying up on the monkey bars by myself. You know, gym teacher, I believe, told me I didn't have any upper body strength. And you hear all this negativity, dude, and you got to put a stop to the negativity and say, I'm not listening to these negative thoughts. And I stayed up all night. I remember that, and I couldn't sleep. I passed out in the middle of the lobby there. I think I had basically an hour or so of sleep. I'm almost passing out doing my warm-ups and stuff. And, you know, my first opener squat was pretty good, but I didn't hit anywhere near what I should have hit on the squat. Bench was okay. Could have been a little bit better, but I can't complain too much on the bench. But I was definitely in a hole because I left like, I can't remember exactly, at least 60 pounds, if not like 80 or 100 pounds on the table with the squat, which at a national championship, particularly that level, is an enormous amount. When these things are decided by like 5, 10, 20 pounds a lot of times, okay? Or even a tie on body weight. And so, you know, I basically, as you said, I had to hit a personal record by a long stretch in the deadlift and my last lift to win. And that's exactly what I did. And that's what Michael Phelps, in my personal opinion, did here. You know, and the competitor that I competed against, I had to hit mine, and he had to miss his, and that's how it went down. I hit mine, he missed his, and Michael, I answered the bell from my first national championship to the last national championship, because I'm clutch, because I'm a winner, because I'm a champion, I'm a 4-time national, and Michael Phelps is a super champion. And that's what Michael Phelps was able to do, Paul. He answered the bell.
That's exactly right, and that's exactly what I was trying to capture, is that you understand what Michael Phelps was going through when he had that first race, and it's like, oh my gosh, wait, I'm fourth. I'm not, maybe I'm slipping. Maybe I can't do it. Maybe this isn't meant to be. So he had to go back, do a little soul searching, rediscover his confidence, think about it, and come out and hit the marks that he needed to hit the same way that you had to hit your lift. And that's what being a champion is all about. And Michael Phelps has demonstrated he is one of the greatest champions in the history of the Olympics, and we salute him. Woo!
That's it, and I'm going to tie it up right here. That's why we love Jeremy Lin, and that's what Linsanity is all about. That's what Tebow and Tebow Mania is all about. That's what Roger Federer and the Fed heads are all about. You know, that's what Michael Phelps and the whole Phelps phenomenon is all about. And that's what JDV and PFE and Conservative New Media and the CNM Army, that's you, is all about. This is what it's all about right here. It's about being the best. It's about persevering. It's about the journey. It's about excellence. It's about everything. And that, we salute Michael Phelps. This is an incredible situation. It's an incredible achievement. What do you think about it? It's time for you to weigh in right now, and it's time to celebrate. I don't care. Everybody all around the world. Okay, yes, we're American and Go USA and all that. This is a world, global phenomenon. This is an Olympic phenomenon. Everybody can participate in this. I think everybody wins. This is a human achievement, okay, in my personal opinion. Weigh in on it and celebrate on it right now. Give me the comments below. Please subscribe above. I'm John D. Villarreal, the 4-time national champion. That is Paul F. Villarreal. We are Conservative New Media. Please rate this video up. Also, please post your social networking sites. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. And once again, congratulations, Michael Phelps.